Alright, we're back. This time we have a camera so you can see what I look like. But as always, we got the coffee, and more importantly, we got the fruit snacks. So let's crack some packs, shall we? I'm very excited. I'm a little bummed though because the last draft that I did, I thought I was recording and I wasn't, and it was one of the sweeter decks I've ever drafted on Arena Cube. So maybe we can draft one just as sweet, but I doubt it. I had Power, I had Wheel of Fortune, and Storm, and I stormed some people out. It was pretty good. But enough about our previous draft. Let's look into what we've got here. Okay, well, we have two high-powered red cards in Fury and Pyrokinesis. And I'm honestly leaning towards that out of this pack. There's nothing really exciting to me. Snapcaster's great if you wanted to just cut off blue in this pack and try and push into that. But from my experience in this particular cube, I've said this before, Boros is kind of the deck to beat. And not only is this good in the Boros deck, it's good against the Boros deck. So I think it's a good place to play this. It's also good in some of like the more mid-rangey strategies where you could play a fair reanimate or just pitching it makes sense. There aren't any, or there aren't many, I should say, effects that... did I misclick here? How did I pick a Croxa? Something strange is going on. I'm going to assume this is just a glitch since Croxa's in this pack, and that I did actually take the Fury. That's really weird. I think the best card in this pack is Parallax Wave. I talked about going into Boros. I think Boros is the best strategy. It's a little weird to take a couple back-to-back high-end top curve cards for that strategy, but I think this is just above and beyond the best, one of the best cards as a finisher or as a way to kind of turn the tide in a mid-range matchup against any other creature-based strategy. So I'm going to take that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I really hope this is not an actual Croxa. What if I change this? We may just have a Croxa glitch in our deck. Anyway, moving forward from that. In red, Glurybringer's great. It's kind of big. I don't really want to go into a big red or Boros deck. I'm actually looking at Umezawa's Jitte. I feel like that card, again, is one of those things where it's good just as an aggressive strategy, but it's also good against other aggressive strategies. More fun cards to note. Bolus Citadel, I had that in my last draft, which went off a couple of times. Displacer Kitten is really fun if you can get certain cards, but and Blade Splicer is the more obvious white aggro pick there. Okay. If we want to stick with the aggressive strategy, we've got Smuggler's Copter. There's, if you wanted to try and spec on going into a storm strategy to mill your opponent out, Brain Freeze is great. It's rare to see this wheel. It's snapped up by people quite a bit, even though the strategy isn't that successful. I think if you're not going to take Smuggler's Copter and you're not going to go into the Brain Freeze, I think it's also totally possible to just take a Toxic Deluge. Again, great against the Boros and the aggro strategies, great against green because they've got all the mana dorks. I am going to take the Copter here. I think it's great. My other consideration is Get Lost for this aggro deck that I'm looking to push into. Another thing to note, since we've already picked up Umezawa's Jitte, is that we are looking for the Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, here we've got a Flooded Strand, which I'm interested in taking, but I'm going to be so hung up on this, guys. The entire draft, I'm just going to be thinking about whether or not this is a Croxa or a Fury. I should really just draft as though I don't know what this is. or try to think about it being both. Because if I take this away, I'm really just white right now. And if I'm just white, I want Skyclave Apparition. If I am red, I might lean towards Inti because I think it's a slightly better card. But since I can't reliably tell what's going on with this glitch, I'm just going to take the Skyclave and stay white. Wow, okay. Well, we have an Archon of Cruelty, which is just, the best random mana strategy, the best sneak, the best show and tell. This cube version does not have Through the Breach like a lot of other vintage cubes do. I think we're already kind of committed to this red-white or mostly white, we'll see, strategy. So I'm going to take the Goblin Bombardment and hope that we can see some more token producers so that we can actually maximize this. Ideally a Johnny, but I'm not going to get my hopes up for that unless we open it early in the next pack. Okay, this is easy for me. This is Stoneforge. We already have Umezawa's Jitte, and we did see Batterskull, which may wheel. If someone's pretty astute and has seen this, that they know they've passed, they may hate draft it, although on Arena Cube, it's not something that people are doing that often. They're not really hating cards. I'm going to take the red card just to kind of push into this Boros strategy. Notably, green is open, and there's a lot of lands here, but I don't really think any of those pertain to us. Okay, again, we still have green open. We're not going to play an Enlightened Tutor. I think with where I'm at right now, I'm going to take a Spirebluff Canal. Actually, no. I'm going to take an Unlicensed Hearse. It is going to shore up any strategies where people are accessing the graveyard just to kind of slowly eat that away is something I'm interested in doing. Happy about a Giver of Runes wheel here. And, Fire Blast, I'm not too sad to see pass. Prismatic Ending is good if we're going to be 2 or 3 colors, but I'm not going to get my hopes up for that. I'm just going to grab a Displacer Kitten because I like it. No other reason, but it will go on the sideboard. I am curious and hopeful that it's one of these packs that we're going to get that Batterskull back, because I doubt anyone else really wants it. Unless they're hoping to get the Stoneforge back for themselves on the wheel, which is a totally reasonable take, but we'll see. This is shaping up okay. Hey, perfect. Okay. There's also a Shadow Spear, but when we're able to cheat this into play, Batterskull's above and beyond Shadow Spear. This is the first time I've seen a Brain Freeze wheel. I'm wondering if people are finally catching on that those strategies just aren't that great. Here I'm going to take a Multiversal Passage as fixing. Happy to pick that up. None of these really matter for me here, but I'll take what I need to. And then a Restless Prairie. If for some reason we go into green for maybe a Mint Skin Boo, I'd be happy to have that picked up. Okay. Again, no power here. Fast Bond's great. I love a Fast Bond, but again, not for us. Standouts for the deck we're in are Winds of Abandon, Burst Lightning, Blood Crypt if we want to splash something, but I'm going to try and stay away from that. Last video definitely got suckered into the Fire Covenant, and I think if I had stuck to more focused linear red-white strategy, I would have been happier. I'm actually going to take Burst Lightning. I like the fact that this is reach, although this is kind of a windmill slam at the end of the game when you've got a board and so does your opponent. Hazoret's fine, but it's a little expensive, and I'm going to try and keep this curve very low. But I do like Burst Lightning to go face or be used as a removal spell, both early and in the middle of the game with Kicker. So I'm going to throw that in the deck. Okay, here we have a couple things. We have Lava Spur Boots, which we can search off Stoneforge. I do like to have 2 minimum, which we already have with Umezawa's and Batterskull, which are 2 of the 3 best. Alternatively, we have Yura and Oski, and Gideon. Balance is super powerful, but not something we're looking to cast. It's actually pretty good against us. Well, I really like Uranowski. What this allows us to do is rebuy things like Skyclave Apparition, and because we have things to crew in Unlicensed Hearse and Smuggler's Copter, we can reliably have tapped creatures, and this just allows us to put our opponents on the back foot in a way that I think is really powerful. And if I remember correctly, it's only, oh no, it's all spells. So if we choose something, we need to know that it's going to affect us as well, but that's fine, easy to play around. I am going to take Ephemerate here, which is a little interesting, but it works well currently with Stoneforge, Uranowski, and Skyclave Apparition, and I'm sure we can find some additional pieces. Other than that, I mean, I love, let's make this maximize. Other than that, I love Urza Lord High Artificer, but we're not in that deck. And I'm not like LSV, and I'm not just going to push hard into artifacts. Upheaval, there's a lot that's really good here for an artifact deck, but I'm just going to take Ephemerate over Voldaran Epicure. Say that 5 times fast. This I'm super happy with. Caracas is busted, although Dolores, let's look. We'd have to lose, well, again, I'm just going to put this in the sideboard. This pisses me off. Anyway, we're going to lose 2 threes, a 4 and a 5. No, at this point, I don't think it's worth. I think Stoneforge picking up Batterskull is just too big of a game. I'm going to take Caracas because there's just so many legends in this format that it just hoses some decks entirely. I've had decks where I have that played against me and I just can't do anything. Okay, I'm going to pick up the Cauldron Complete, and we may look at, dropping some of these other... I was talking, I think, in the last pack about Lava Spur Boots, but we didn't end up picking that up, and that's fine. I think this is kind of maxing out our equipment that we're going to get in Cauldra, Batterskull, and Smugglers. Not Smugglers, where's it at? Umezawa's Jitte. I'm happy with that. Here, I really like Grim Monolith, but I want to make sure my mana is shored up. If you watch any other content creators, they're always just hammering it in, at least to my skull when I watch them, about how important a mana base is. And I think that's especially true for Boros. And on that vein, I'm always greedy. Here's the problem. I don't want to take this Elegant Parlor. That would be the correct thing to do, but I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to take Adeline and hope to wheel one of these. There is the Underworld Breach had we taken that Brain Freeze, but I'm happy with where we are in this draft, and I'm not going to regret any of those things. But we'll see if we get that wheel. Here, I'm super happy for Thalia. Lightning Greaves is an equipment, but we already have the 3 that we could possibly want. They're just the best 3. I think I started saying it earlier, but didn't finish the thought. The ones we have are the ones you want. Again, like Oski, Uranowski, we've got Thalia, which is another disruptive piece. Base is not for us, even though it's in our colors, and green's pretty obviously open here. Okay, I don't think any of this is for us, but I will pick up an Agatha Soul Cauldron. I'm sure the rest of the table is annoyed with me for training these packs. But what does it actually do for us? It's giving things Grim Lavamancer abilities. That's about it, but I'll take it. Okay. Oh no, I thought this was in the last pack, but it was in this pack. I'll take it. I don't think we want this. I think 4 things to hit off of Stoneforge Mystic is just too much, but it's the only thing that's really sticking out to me here for us. I'm going to pick up a Flood Farm Verge in case we want to splash blue for Time Walk, or what's the other one that ooh, okay. Time Walk or Ancestral Recall. I don't get my hopes up, but hey, if we're lucky enough, I will definitely do my best to splash it. I'm going to take Carnage Interpreter here. Phyrexian Revoker's pretty good, but I think in the late game, once you've emptied your hand, this is one of the best ways to actually get your way back in. Coveted Jewel to sit with Displacer Kitten in the sideboard. That's a dream. I'd love to draft for you guys at some point, but not for us today. Get Endurance out of here. And a Talisman. So we did not wheel the red-white cards out of that one pack we were discussing. Wow, okay. For those who were believers in the Storm deck, you would have been paid off. You would have had every single piece. Brain Freeze, Underworld Breach, LED. Shame. We weren't brave enough to go down that path, but I am more than happy to take a Broadside Bombardiers here. Killer card. Are we looking to wheel anything? Yes, we're looking for Sanguine Evangelist to wheel, and that's about it. If it doesn't wheel, that's okay. This is probably 5 times better than Sanguine Evangelist, although they are a good combination with each other. Let's see what. See, here you go. They can wheel pack wheels too. Pack wheels? That's not what I'm trying to say. Train. Anyway. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll give myself a break. Okay, here's another example of where being disciplined is important for the mana base. Do I think that not a single one of these will wheel? And is it worth taking a Ragavan over those cards? We only have 2 red-white fixers right now. And we're mostly white with a little bit of red. Plateau is kind of the nuts pick here. But I'm greedy. I'm going to hope to wheel either a Bloodstained Mire, a Sunbaked Canyon, or a Plateau. If we're lucky, we'll get the better of those. And probably the Plateau. I doubt the fetch land will wheel. Okay, how are we looking on removal? Because Oust is surprisingly good. If we're not going to take removal in Oust or March of Otherworldly Lights, I'm going to take the Ocelot Pride because I think it's just an insane card. We're kind of low on removal, actually. And I didn't even look at the Dismember. Actually, Dismember is probably good enough where that's the pick. If we're lucky and we did push white hard enough and no one else is in the deck, we could get Ocelot on the wheel, but I would be very surprised. Okay, here, let's take one quick look again at how we're doing on creatures. 10, we're a little low and we're in pack 3, so we should start picking creatures up here. My inclination would be to take Chain Lightning as another piece of removal. We did go pretty heavy into this package for Stoneforge Mystic, but I think Chain Lightning is one of the better ones. We'll see if that's a strat that works. I'm still kind of banking on the fact that white is open enough where we're going to get some things on the wheel. I love Deep Cavern Bat. Where did it go? Love it, but it's not for us here. We do have Broadside Bombardiers, and so looking at Seasoned Pyromancer over Karizev, they both produce tokens, but this just produces more over time as also a way to draw if you're Hellbent. So I'm going to pick that here. Swift Spear is fine, and with maybe all of the non-creature spells we have, that would be better than normal, but I'm not really high on it in this cube. Okay, Staff of the Storyteller is pretty good, and I think we've got some token generation here. We've got Carnage, Interpreter, Seasoned Pyromancer, Adeline, Stoneforge getting Batterskull. That's kind of a stretch. So not a whole lot, but this is a card advantage engine, and we may get some other things passed to us here. But I'm going to take that. Okay. I am a big fan of Cathar Commando. It's both a way to answer difficult enchantments and artifacts, but it's also just a flash threat that beats pretty hard. If we're lucky, well, if this is the last card in the pack, am I going to get this? I always question. We've got pick 7. Yeah, it might be the last card in the pack. I'll have to think about that a little more. Okay, so we have Reprieve. This is just a free card, but Screaming Nemesis is kind of insane. We are going to be hurting on our mana. The greediness, it's gonna kick me in butt. But other options are Reprieve, but I love Screaming Nemesis. It just puts your opponents in really awkward positions sometimes. Nothing here for us really. I think I'll just take loot because it's going to annoy Ryan. If you're watching, Ryan, I know you love loot, so there you go, just for you. This is actually pretty great. Lion Sash is, for all intents and purposes, a creature, but it is searchable off of Stoneforge Mystic, so it's kind of a win-win for me here because I need more creatures, but I can also tutor it up. We did not pick up enough removal, so I am going to take March here. I think we, staked our claim pretty well, and a lot of this stuff is coming around on the wheel, so I'm happy about that. And then here, yeah, I'm going to take the doll. More creatures are required. I don't have any fixing for black, otherwise I would play Lingering Souls. I don't think it's good enough just on the first half. We'll take Swift Spear. And we'll just throw our Thundering Flow. Well, actually, no. Let's just take this. You never know. We are light removal. Hey, I was right. I didn't have enough time to mentally do the math, but I was thinking that would wheel, and I'm glad. Okay, moment of truth. I'm going to restart the client, and I'm going to see if I actually picked a Croxa or not. I'm going to be so upset, because a Fury would be insane in this deck. Okay. We had a Fury all along, folks. Happy day for us. Okay, our deck got a lot better with that, actually. We needed that kind of badly. Our fixing isn't great, but we're gonna have to deal. We're gonna lean heavily on these two dual lands. Okay, let's make some easy cuts. We got the talismans. I'm gonna cut skulls. What is this called again? Soul Cauldron. Wherever it went. A Menace in Standard that they still haven't banned, but that's okay. I don't play Standard and probably won't ever again. Why would I when I've got Cube? The Ephemerate's on the edge, and we're going to play the 3 insane equipments. I think I am going to board the Unlicensed Hearse for now. I don't think I need the Lava Spur boots. We got some decent. Well, our removal's okay. It really is. We've got Burst Lightning, Chain Lightning, March of Otherworldly Light, Jitte to some degree. Nothing else in this row. Then we've got Dismember, which I'm really happy with. Skyclave is kind of, removal on a stick. Parallax Wave's temporary, but I still count it. And then Fury I did actually pick a Fury, thank God. This is a free spell, so let's move it there. I am never going to cast this. I'm going to move this here just to kind of think about it. It's actually a 2-drop if I want to be legitimate. I'm hoping to have these be 2-drops. We need to cut 7 cards. Okay, well, let's get real about this. Skyclave, Dismember, Screaming Nemesis. Okay. Is Bombardment good or not? Sluggish Copter. I really think we want these. I don't think we need March. We want to make sure a creature count stays high. We can cut about 2 creatures. Let's cut some 3s. We're not going to cut. We're just going to pull to the left the ones we know we're not going to cut. We're not going to cut any of these. So it's really, do we want to cut a Carnage Interpreter or a Seasoned Pyromancer? I think we're going to cut Ephemerate. It's just not impactful enough. It's great with actually these 2 that I'm considering cutting. It's great with Skyclave. It's okay with Split Skin. It's basically draw another card. Stoneforge gets you and basically draws you a card. I mean, it's decent. I just have a hard time thinking about the play patterns in which I'm going to make that actually work. Um, with a deck like this, I'm just trying to bash people in the face with some cheap creatures. Swift Spear, we do have quite a few non-creature spells that it's going to trigger on. A million different creature types, that's fine. We're not a kindred deck, to be politically correct. I'll always call it tribal, though, because that is what's ingrained in my brain. Sorry to those that is offensive to. Okay. I think if we're going to be discarding and trying to get card advantage later in the game, and we have to play double red, I'm going to keep the Carnage. I think Carnage Interpreter is better than Seasoned Pyromancer. I don't really want to cut that, but I don't know what else I'm going to cut. We're going to cut one land here to go to 16. I'm not going to be greedier than that on the lands. And we're pretty even. So I'm just going to cut one plains because that'll keep us with even across the board because both of these count as both. Okay, so we got to make 4 cuts. I really just don't like Swift Spear. I'm going to cut Swift Spear. That may be not the best take, but I'm going to count Dismember as a 1-drop because that's the only way we're ever going to cast it. Well, yeah, I still think we like Screaming Nemesis over Seasoned Pyromancer. If we cut Pyromancer, what else are we looking at? I think one of the other questions is like, okay, which of these do we want to cut if we're going to cut one? I'm going to cut the Goblin Bombardment. I really like it as a finisher, but I feel like we've got some burn and we don't have as many creature token producers as I would hope that we would have. It's also going to reduce a little bit of our red count. I mean, a lot of these cards don't need to be played early. It's really Ragavan that we're trying to play on turn 1. And now we only need 1 cut. What is that? We have 16 creatures. Technically Batterskull and Cauldra count as creatures, but I'm not going to rely on that. Let me know in the comments what you would pick here. I am super indecisive, and it's historically terrible for me to make cuts like these. I'll just kind of spiral on them for 10 minutes. So I'll make a cut, and I'll see if you agree or if you hate it. Alrighty. I chose to cut the Grim Lavamancer, and we're going to get into the games. Let's see how it goes. Ratterder. Not my favorite name, but I like the opening hand that we have. We're definitely going to start on a turn 1 Ragavan. Shame we're on the draw because less likely that we'll be able to run our opponent over, but that's okay. Depending on how our opponent plays their hand, we may start off on a Giver of Runes. Okay, we're really hoping to draw our Stoneforge Mystic here, but I am still going to run out the Ragavan. With green, I think the things I'd be concerned about are high toughness creatures like a Sylvan Caryatid, but this is perfect. And not what I expected, actually, out of a forest start to have a blue-red talisman. Let's see what we... Great Earth. I'm glad that's not in our opponent's deck. I'm not a crazy enough person to just cast Carnage Interpreter here, so I'm just going to cast a Giver of Runes, and we'll keep trucking along here. Okay, Slayering Academy. Brainstorm. Opponent seems to have a brew on their hands. I wonder if they have things like Tireless Tracker to create clues. I always see blue-green, and I think Uro, or what's the other one that's really busted? Nadu. Although I feel like the most likely to be in this would be in Oko, because it produces artifacts for Tolarian Academy. Okay, well, I'm gonna play the Crocus in case they have some kind of shenanigans and they want to try and save this. I'm gonna keep Giver of Runes back. I don't really care. Yes, we're trying to deal damage, but protecting is important. I am gonna play a Chromos Seed Shark though. That's good value. Now on the next turn when we play something like a Batter Skull, if they have a remand, that'd be pretty sweet. Memory lapse. Is it gonna go to the top of mine or yours? Yours. Okay. I like that. That is a downside of Ragavan when there's several cards that return things like that. Because now this is just actually a problem for us. I would have, in retrospect, I would have been better off leaving it behind in exile and not casting it. But hey, what can you do? I am going to try and deal with that as soon as possible, though, because we will quickly get buried by this in many respects. One, because it's going to produce creatures, and two, because it's going to be artifact creatures for or artifact tokens. They're not immediately creatures, so you have to activate them for 2 colorless. But it's just going to make Tolarian Academy kind of busted out of nowhere. Okay, I'm going to start by giving this pro blue, and we're going to get in there and see what kind of advantage we can get. I'm not afraid of them having green open. And who knows what they've got. What does this do? At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature where X is this creature's power. Okay, I mean, that's going to be fun when we slap a Batter Skull on it. I'm definitely into that. Ragavan's just so fun. I know people hate on Ragavan, but the fact that you can just cast other people's things is hilarious to me. Okay, we're just gonna play this out, and on our next turn, we will likely play Batter Skull, and we can just keep getting in. This is an interesting card that I've never really read before. I've seen it, but the fact that it pumps itself means that just everything gets huge over time. This is pretty much a must-answer card. What are they targeting? Anything? No targets. Okay, well, yeah, that's a problem. I could see how that would get out of hand with this card very quickly. Yep, they're able to do that. Luckily, they can't get in here, but that's okay. I am... The problem here is I actually can't get in anymore because this is colorless, so it's a good play on their part. Um, we're still going to go to combat. We're going to put counters on everything. We won't attack. Pretty bummed about it, but I am going to slap a Batter Skull. And if we can, next turn I will equip it to this, and we can hopefully go off if I read it correctly. Yeah, it's its power. So giving it +4 means everything's going to get huge. And they're tapped out. I mean, they're out of cards, I should say. This is interesting. I think it's worth doing this. Maybe it's too cute, but I can't help myself. Oh man, I think this is just hilarious. Jesus Christ. Can they even kill this? 5, 9, 10, 11, 12? No? Okay. I mean, I'm just going to get in with both of these, and if they want to try and make some blocks, so be it. That's just stupid. Yeah, okay. That's kind of a play that I would expect them to make. I actually feel remarkably confident here. Hopefully that doesn't not famous last words, but hey, um, the fact that even if they remove this, I still just have all these. These are counters. This isn't just like +1/+1 while it's in play. It's gonna be really good if I can stack the triggers with Adeline next turn. I think it's gonna get out of hand very quickly, and I don't know what they're gonna do. This is not power, this is mana value. That's fine. Um, we're gonna have this be white. Pay 2, because I want to leave up Caracas. Let's get in there. Yeah, this is insane. Okay, the way it's triggered, it doesn't work. But Ragavan, you won me the game. Yes, thank you. I will say thanks to that. I mean, they would already be dead here. I mean, they just have to block everything. Yeah, they just chump everything all the way across the board. Um, yeah. Wow. I don't regret putting the Matter Skull on this card. What are you, Ouroboros? Ouroboros? Anyway, they need a Wrath effect or they're dead. This is crazy. This is why you play Cube, everyone. This is awesome. Play your cards. Yeah, GG's. Wow. Okay. I'll take that as the first round. Let's get on to the next one. Enemy 92, the Mind Sculptor. I go first. I like this hand. Um, yeah, we're going to keep this and we're going to roll with it. I know we want red and hopefully we can draw that, but I'm going to run out of planes first because I don't want to expose Caracas to wasteland or strip mine. Not that it's super common, they do exist. And okay, if we have to pitch Bombardiers, we will for Fury, but as of right now, I don't think that's going to be the case. I did run out Caracas just because next turn, if for some reason, actually, I don't know. The logic didn't make sense there. I said I'm not going to expose it, and then I expose it, but um, this a Boros deck could be playing something like that. Okay, we're going to play Adeline, and then we're going to crew, and then that will allow us to loot. And we're going to get a token. That's great. Let's take action. There's our red. We are playing against the Boros deck, and both Batterskull and Umezawa's Jitte are just like game enders. I am going to pitch the Batterskull just because we want Mountain for Broadside, and Umezawa's Jitte is going to get the deal done, and it's just cheaper. So I'm not going to Fury anything here. I think if they play some other problematic threats this turn, I will look at doing that, but I don't think we need to. Not yet. We're not in trouble, and I'm not too concerned. Although that is a card that I would like to Fury. Okay. I see you, opponent. I like it. Luckily, Robber is not triggering because we're keeping pace with them on getting cards out of our hand. Okay, well, here's the question. I think, to me, it actually does make sense to Fury here. Pitching Broadside, and then I can equip Umezawa's Jitte and get in. I think that just makes a whole lot of sense, and I think it's going to close the door on this game. But you never know. It's not always the case. If I can get control that lets me, I can be... Okay, that's enough. Yeah, what I was going to do is crew Copter with Fury and then get in there with Jitte. If they scooped to that, they definitely would have scooped to Jitte. Yeah, we had fun. We won. Come on, people. I know I'm frowning guy. I should be frowning, but I'm not. Icy. All right. What does Oko got going on there? Okay. As much as I like these two cards with 3 mountains, I don't think I can keep this. It's basically a mulligan to 5, which I'm not going to do. I'll get a better 6. And this is a better 6. Very similar, actually. I'm good with this. We're going to put back Chain Lightning once our opponent decides what they're doing. But the benefit of this is our hand's going to be empty pretty quick, And did I say it put back Chain Lightning? Actually, this allows us to kind of keep up. I don't think it's going to matter too much. I am going to put back Burst Lightning. You can holler at me if you think that's wrong, but I'm going to do it. The argument is that I could keep up Burst Lightning here if they play a turn 1 elf or something. Punished immediately. That's okay. Do I... So here's decision point. Obviously, we now know I made the wrong choice, which should have went with my initial decision. Because we didn't do that, we can Cathar Commando this turn at end of turn. Maybe, I don't think we're going to trade, but then the following turn we can go Chain Lightning plus Thalia. And I think I'd rather do that, so I'm just going to pass. Because if we play Thalia this turn, then we're not going to be able to double spell next turn, and we're just trying to dump our hand so we can play Carnage Interpreter and use it to start beating them down, but also draw cards back into the game. That's going to be problematic. Unfortunately, yeah, we're going to struggle to beat that. Let's see what we can do, though. Well, I think if we get in, they'll block, and then we can Chain Lightning it. Otherwise, what are we doing? We shoot this and then attack for 3, which is the better play. I think that's the move, because then they either... Well, really, they don't have another option. They'll have to plus, which means we're going to be in a similar position next turn. However, I don't know what else we can really do there. It's certainly better than trading off Cathar Commando. That play would have certainly been worse. I would feel very bad about our position with all the cards they have in hand if I didn't have a Carnage Interpreter. But I'm still concerned because they could have any number of cards. They've already got Grist. I could easily see them having something like a Minskin Boo. Let's play this. Let's get both of these at Grist. So if they want to keep Grist alive, they have to double chump. Otherwise, yeah, they'll trade here, which I think they're probably pretty happy about. But I'm happy to get Grist off the board. It's a trade I'm willing to make. I wouldn't be surprised if they double chumped. Yeah. Because it's going to continue to be a problem. And if they can play something else next turn that can block well against Thalia, then they can just keep getting value out of this Grist. But Carnage Interpreter, let's make some clues. This is beneficial because we can get in around one blocker. Or I should say, we're going to get a blocker that they create from Grist, and then whatever they play as a blocker here. This looks like a removal spell. I'm going to crack this just because I know Carnage Interpreter is going to stay. We cannot equip, but let's start by attacking Grist with both of these. This is a little bit of a losing proposition because we're spending all of these resources just trying to kill one card. Grist is already traded for Cathar Commando and a Chain Lightning, so we're really down on card advantage. I am hoping that we can take this Grist down here, but if they have a removal spell for Carnage Interpreter, they don't? Okay, that's perfect. I am a little concerned about what they have here. Maybe they're mana screwed. And we're going to start to get Exil's Jeté online and just try and crank in with Carnage Interpreter. But I think if they get to 5 and 6 mana, we're going to start being in trouble pretty quickly. Like if this is a Glory Bringer, I'm not going to be very happy. It's possible that Thalia is keeping them off of a large non-creature spell. But in these colors, I'd be surprised. I mean, they've got pretty good mana. Wow, I'm really uncertain about what's going on here. I'm going to equip this to Thalia. Just because I think if they're going to kill something, they're going to want to kill Interpreter. And plus, the first strike allows me to actually pump or do additional things for damage. Okay, here's Lutri. Interesting. What are they trying to do here? Double block? This feels very strange. I think they're going to get blown out by Umezawa's Jitte if they are trying to double block and then use like burn-based removal. Okay. I am just going to... One of the things I'm considering that could be a major problem for us is something like... Ooh. I'm blanking, but you can help me. It's the 2 green, sack a green creature, search for a green creature. What card is that? I'll put it up on the screen. I'll remember it later. Anyway, because of whatever the hell that card is, I'm going to kill the green creature because I don't want them to... Natural order. We got there. I don't want them to natural order. I know that seems a little strange, but I'm not worried about losing the race to Lutri, and that's... Natural order is a way that we could just get blown out here. Okay, let's see what they try and do here. If they try to bolt down Thalia, we'll be able to save it with Umezawa's Jitte. Here, I'm going to do this before I do anything else because I don't want them to be able to hit it with loots. And I don't want to have to... I am going to move this over. I doubt they're going to make a move. If they make a move here, it seems very strange. Please tap your loot to kill Thalia. I don't know why they would do that. We are in a pretty low... We're in silver tier because we just started doing this, but at least on this particular... Okay. I don't know what they're roping for. I'm just going to get in here, though. So we can make this a 7/7, which means it would still trade with both of their creatures. I'm okay with this, because then we still get 2 Jitte counters. And then we've got Lion Sash and stuff to just keep on trucking with the damage. They're going to take it. Okay. I'm not going to make a move here. I imagine they'll bolt my face. We're going to save it. It's too free not to. Oh, it's the equipped creature? You gotta read your cards, people. Hit him with the oops. That's fine. I thought that similar to how you could give target creature -1/-1, you could give target creature +2/+2, but it's only the equipped creature. That is a subtle but very important difference. If I were them, I'd draw 3 cards, but maybe they are concerned for their life if they tap. Battle Strix, okay. Luckily killable via Umezawa's Jitte. I hope I don't get punished to the point where I lose this game because I gave this +2/+2, but so be it. You live and you learn. Fast Bond is interesting. I wonder if they have a Crucible strip mine thing going on. This is just a 4-color deck with like kind of just like a Jund mid-range with blue for loot. I wouldn't be surprised if they have... Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just going to take this. I'm a huge fan of loot, by the way. Ryan, I know you're a hater, but in my own personal vintage cube, I've added this card. Mainly because it is just a house. I mean, obviously it's for the Ancestral Recall portion, the pay blue, tap, draw 3 cards. But it's like the perfect splash in the red-green beats deck, which this deck isn't exactly. It's kind of just a 4-color soup deck, but it's a great way to give additional reach in the damage, but also drawing additional cards. This is nice. I'm impressed by the Quantum Riddler. This is just the Warp, I believe. I wasn't paying enough attention because I was rambling about red-green beats, which is an archetype that I love, but I believe they warped this. I hope so. Otherwise, again, we're going to run into some issues. No, it was not warped. Okay. Well... what we are going to do is play this. Well, so here's the issue. If we draw another land, we're gonna be screwed because then we're gonna have 2 cards in hand because we can't even play this currently. What I do want to do is, well, okay. I think we're gonna start by playing this on whites, and I'm going to have it enter tapped. From there, I'm going to kill the Baleful Strix. That forces them into blocking. And I am going to equip on Thalia. And then I'm going to attack. And so if they double block Carnage Interpreter, the first strike from Thalia is going to allow me to get 2 more counters on this, and I can mess up their blocks. Not by +2ing on Carnage Interpreter, because I can't, but via the -1 ability with Umezawa's Jitte, likely just killing Lutri, and then these 2 will bounce. Or, what I'd rather do... Oh, that's an interesting play. So the other thing that can happen here, that is an interesting play. I like that by them. Okay. I think this is fine. I can order this in a couple of different ways. But we're gonna go here. This is how it's gonna work. After that happens, we get the counters. And now what we can do is pump this twice to save Thalia. It's not going to be able to kill Quantum Riddler, but it will keep Thalia alive to keep doing this trick. So I am going to do that. It's a little strange, but just because of the way damage works here, it allows us to keep Thalia alive. And I'm happy with that. And then here I am going to crack and just hope we don't have land across the next couple of turns. And we're not dead here because we can go up to 14 off Umezawa's trigger. They can only hit us for 8 currently. We'll see what else they've got. Not worried about that at all. Cards that we would like to draw are obviously any of our burn spells. We've wasted our Chain Lightning and we put at the bottom our Burst Lightning, and we haven't shuffled, and I don't think we have any ways to shuffle. So the direct damage route we don't have. However, we are forcing them into double blocking or figuring something out. and every time we're able to attack with Umzao's Jitte, it's just going to keep pressure on them. We'll see what else they have, though. I am a little surprised. I think they're just digging, because they know that if they can't play another creature, then they're just going to die to this having menace. And that's okay. They're attacking because they're going to draw 3 to try and dig for something. And I think that's the move on their part. Okay. I assumed that's what they were going to do. None of these are hittable on Storyteller. Sorry, not Storyteller. Skyclave can't hit either of these because they're above 4 mana, which is fine. I'm still going to play it. But luckily, well, hopefully, yeah, okay. We're going to get a counter, and then we're going to play out down to... And we are going to hit the Reckoner. Actually, I don't think so. I think we're going to hit Fast Bond, because again, I'm trying to think of how do we not lose here, and I think the way we don't lose is we don't let them assemble a combo like Zurin Orb plus Fast Bond plus the other card that's escaping me. There's several. Ice Till Explorer, any of the things that let you play lands from your graveyard. Yeah, I mean, there's a world where this doesn't work out for us, but they need to make the first move on dealing with Thalia or Carnage Interpreter. If they have a removal spell, then yeah, this gets a little trickier. But based on the way they're tanking, I don't think they have anything. Umzao's Jitte has put in some massive work in this game, and it's a card that I think in my version of the Vintage Cube is a little less powerful, but I think because there's so many creature-based strategies here, it actually really overperforms. I'm just going to go to first strike damage. I mean, they really have to have a removal spell, and I'm not going to make a move here. The onus is on them to make a play, otherwise they just die. Okay. Interesting. With that said, we don't need to make a move because they're hitting Thalia with all their mana. That was actually really, really good on their part. I am going to order so that I can kill Riddler. But since they're tapped out, and I don't need to try and like bait them into anything, we are just going to give this -1, and then we can trade with it. Ooh, hold up. Oh, okay. I was going to say, if it doesn't let me order blockers, I was going to be very upset. But luckily, it let us do it the way we needed to. And then here, I mean, we're going to have Jitte up again. We're going to have Batterskull. This is where it starts to get close, right? Because they're going to be able to draw again. They still haven't drawn off loot, which I probably would have done by now, unless they already know they're not drawing to anything. But, I mean, it looks like they're digging. I am not quite sure how this is going to pan out. What I am going to look to do is play and then equip. I don't know if I have enough mana, because what is it? That's 5. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, again, they have to find an answer for the flyer at this point. Because yes, they can trade and just eat the Skyclave. But I will start the turn by drawing with Staff of the Storyteller. Oh, that's an interesting one. What do they got in the graveyard? I'm glad I exiled the Grist. AJ, I know you would know this. If you're watching, you can give... If Grist was still in the yard, if I hadn't exiled it earlier, our opponent would be able to use the loyalty abilities, right? I don't know. I'll look that one up. We don't have to worry about it here, but that's just something I'm curious about. Oh, that's a play. They can sack it to destroy an enchantment artifact. I mean, again, that doesn't solve their issue. I'm going to block here because I think one of the ways I die is that they find some additional burn or something. And I have lethal in the air still. And giving them this token doesn't do anything. We'll see. I am going to start by drawing with staff, and then just to see what I can draw. I mean, I'd love to see them empty their hand, and I don't know what they could possibly have here, but I'm about to find out if this is a creature. Otherwise, we've got the win here, and they're just kind of stalling out. But let's see what we're working with. Not a lot. I'm going to play the planes. I do want to be able to cast this. I can't cast this and crack another clue. I'm just going to start by attacking. What do you got? Is it time to kill my thing, or is it time to die? You tell me, opponent. I'll sip coffee while we wait. I've committed. What do you have? Okay. I would have done that last turn. I don't understand. Because what if you had a creature with flying you could have played? If they have something like Ephemerate, which they can't cast, obviously, but to re-trigger all of the exhaust, that'd be pretty sweet. Psychic Frog. See, they could have played Psychic Frog. They had the mana. They could have exiled cards from their graveyard and blocked this. I feel like not activating loot on their turn was a misplay. Okay. Well, we got there. That one a little closer towards the end than I thought it might have been, but I'll take it. Happy Meals. All right. I'm ready. This hand is mediocre, but that's okay. A weird synergy that I haven't thought about before is Uranowski being legendary, being able to bounce it on a turn when you can have multiple spells. Actually, I don't know if that works that way. Let's see. No, they don't stack, but later in the game you could switch it up if you wanted to. Bounce and recast to keep something costing a little more, or changing what it is, rather. Yeah, this hand is a little slow, but it's got some answers, and it's got a lot of play specifically against an opposing aggro deck. Let's see what our opponent has. Same sleeves as our last opponent. Let's see if they have a similar slop deck. Seems better already. Hey, and we even have the instant to deal with this. Let's get that out of here. I love that draw. Let's keep that rolling. Next turn I'll likely just draw with staff and play Mazau's Jitte unless we draw something better. In an ideal world, we are able to cast Fury rather than pitch it. Hard cast, rather. This card's just so busted. Okay. I'm still going to start by drawing. I'm going to keep hitting them in their mana. I think the adage of Bolt the Bird is... Adage? I don't think that's actually the right word. What is it? Heuristic is what I know is accurate. Okay. This is a play. Do we want to in-web? Removing our token to get a 3/3 that lets us look at their hand and have things cost more? I think we do. This just puts them on the back foot. Yes, we're kind of burning the... Yeah, I'm just going to say creature. I'm okay putting them. Oh, it's non-creature, of course. Reading the card explains the card. I've read that once before, seeing that it doesn't hit creatures. I'm gonna choose enchantment because that hits Corsair Crucifix and nothing that we have except for. Ooh, what is that card? God, my brain is so bad in the middle of the night. The Adderall's worn off from the day. It's what currently 1:30 in the morning, and yeah, I definitely am a little slow-brained here. That's okay. All right. Does this give +1/+1 for each counter on this equipped? Yeah, let's I think I'm okay trading here just to start getting counters on this. That's a unique play. I think the other option would be to play a Lion Sash. But because we can't play, reconfigure, and exile a card, I am just going to get in and start doing this. Because I think they're a creature-based deck. Yes, they're going to be able to play Courser next turn. But I'm hoping to either draw a land or a red spell and we can trade with it. Also, this card is very good if you leave it to its own devices over time. They're just going to eat stuff out of your graveyard, and it's going to become a 7/7 with trample, which is just stupid. So we'll try and kill this before they eat all of it up. The benefit of them not trading here, I'm honestly surprised they didn't, because they're not going to be able to cast Corsair Crucifix. And then next turn, we're going to be able to attack. They won't be able to actually block. Okay, they're going to play Corsair here. No, Talisman, interesting. And then Scavenging Ooze? Okay. Are they able to hit one of each thing? They already hit instant. Creature, sorcery, land. Okay, no, this is going to get huge. I stand corrected. That is going to be a problem for us. If we do draw an untapped land, we can trade off in combat and then hit it with another with Fury. Sorry about that. I just had to get in here. I just had to talk to Liz. She came in to check in and see how I was doing. Okay, well, I'm happy with this. We are going to get in, and we'll be able to get an additional 2 counters. Then we are going to hard cast Fury, which is exactly what we were wanting. We're going to kill this, which it's taking a lot, but hey, this is the power of the cards that we have. I'm more than happy to trade off counters on Jitte to... And they scoop. Wow. We successfully dismantled them there. I do think they had the right play, but we just had the answers. So yeah, let's keep rolling. We're 4-0. Forgot to die? Well, not today you won't. I'm coming for you. This is a mono-white hand I'm happy to keep. This is great. Cauldra, sure, it's expensive, but I'm hoping to draw Stoneforger in one of these games. I just think even if you look at this as a mold of 6, I think this is a better mold of 6 than most 6s our deck can produce. Yeah, it's still going to be minus red mana, but we're going to have Staff, which lets us get back into this. I think it's still worth playing. We've got a Lutri deck over here. We faced an interesting mix of decks. Luckily, okay, there's red. Most of the decks have been decks that Umuzaw's Jitte is really good against, so I think we've been lucky in that regard. I also just love games where you get to play Umuzaw's Jitte and have interesting decisions. It just does so much. that I don't know, I'm just never sad to play those games. I don't want them to ramp. We're gonna remove this Generous Plunderer, even though, you know, we have things to ramp into as well. I don't like them getting the first crack at it. Perfect. I'm happy to Skyclave Apparition this. All of our plays have been great 1-for-1 so far. This being, you know, a pseudo 2-for-1. Granted, they may kill it and get their card back. Okay, here's something. This hits Planeswalkers, right? Please tell me it does. Return something back 2 or less. Okay, that's fine. Well, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to kill that this turn, which is a really big bummer. But unless this draws us a red card that we can pitch. It does not. Without Jite. I think, well, we're definitely going to try and attack down this Comet. It just has too much potential to wreck us. Question now is, do we want to hold up Cathar Commander to flash in, or do we want to get one of these other spells down? I think Musaj Jite is going to be good, but we can play and equip next turn, so I don't necessarily need to do that. I think the argument to not play Staff is that we can hold up Caracas, which if they play something, we can, you know, kind of blow them out or waste their turn or their mana. We just really need to hope that they hit poorly again on Comet and we don't just get wrecked by this. The only other thing I would consider is that this creates a flyer, and that could help us get in. But I think I'm just going to hold up Cathar Commando because it allows us to be safe with Caracas and then also just not skip a beat with keeping a threat in hand that we can actually play. All right, let's get lucky. Let's not have them get lucky here. Please don't roll a 6. Don't pause so long. I'm getting stressed. This is one of those cards that I also have this in my Vintage Cube, and it's just, sometimes it yields ridiculous turns. I mean, if you can roll 6 multiple times and this just like destroys everything your opponent has in the field, creates like 4 squirrels, and you know, you return something from your graveyard to your hand, it can just go off in some ridiculous ways. And then sometimes it just doesn't do much. Like here, it's going to create 2 squirrels, and that's fine. Okay, we do need to not get punished by this. I'm going to cast Cathar Commando in response. Otherwise, we wouldn't be casting anything this turn, and I'm okay with that. Showing our hand. Okay, well, I don't mind them attacking here. I'm hoping to draw a red card. Or a mountain works. I think, because I'm going to play this regardless, but the question is, are we just killing Comet, or are we going to be able to kill, because really we're going to look at Voice of Victory in a squirrel, or we're going to hit Generous Plunderer plus both squirrels and then attack in. Then if they have an instant speed removal spell, Comet stays in play, which I hate. That's interesting. And I'd really like to get these 2 cards down, but I think we just have to wait. If we kill both of these, they would, if they have a removal spell, we still get punished. Interesting. Okay, let's cast it so we stop roping. I think the highest upside play is killing these and getting in, hoping they don't have an instant speed removal spell. But I think if not, we just get so punished if we don't kill Comet there. And then I'm going to sit back. And the beauty of the next turn is that we get to equip Uzos Jete to Fury, which is crazy. I am concerned that they're going to hit us with a double burn off Lutri, but what can you do? We did get lucky in this game that we don't have... Oh, I love to see this. The fact that they're drawing a card means that they don't have an answer to Fury. and I'm totally cool with that. Interesting. Hopefully they're not a fourth or a third color here that helps them fix, although they already had fixing on this. Sarah Paragon, okay. Play land. I like it. Do your thing. Yeah, we're gonna play Umezawa's Jitte and equip to Fury. This is just gonna be so difficult for them to deal with. It's gonna get 4 counters. And we're just gonna send with this. Smart play. Having only 1 creature block means that it doesn't get double counters. From there, what do we want to do? I am going to... This really isn't going to stop them from casting anything. I'm going to cast the Storyteller. This Generous Plunderer could hurt us. And I honestly think I'm going to remove the Umezawa's Jitte counters to kill it. Because we currently have 2 artifacts, and they'll create another. I think I'm going to make that move right now. Before they have more mana to do anything. Okay. They gain 2 life off of that from Sarah Paragon. I do want to answer the Sarah Paragon as soon as possible, but yeah, because they're just going to be able to recast it, which is fine. They really still need to just find an answer to this Fury. I think one of the things I'm concerned about from them is a Fury of their own. Or Pyrokinesis, especially now that we have the Umezawa's counters removed. We can't really protect the Fury. And that is one of the biggest games we have. Okay, luckily that doesn't have haste, so we will be priced into killing that. What did they get? Dismember? Oh my god, what a rip. That's really nice. That's really lucky. Oh man. Yep, I would do it too. Well played. And yeah, I'll trade here. I'm okay with this. Luckily, we still have Umezawa's Jitte, and we can... Well, I am going to draw here. See just what we have. Okay. And then I'm going to get in with the Spirit token. And I'm fully acknowledging that Sarah Paragon's just going to eat this, but that's okay. Because what I'm going to do is then kill Mother of Runes and a token. Because I am not going to deal with this. It's just not happening. Yeah, we'll see what their last card is. Make it cost 1 more. What do you got, OP? Okay. Dwarf. And then I will re-equip here to prevent them from attacking, because I'll gladly just jump in front of anything. The Sarah Paragon's still a problem. We do have enough mana to cast Cauldron Complete on our following turn and put some pressure on them. And I'm just going to get in with the Lightfall Inquisitor. But I'll probably remove a counter to kill the squirrel. They put Lutri into hand. I mean, they're playing a defensive game. I think they've got a better value engine, which arguably they do. I am going to play this Cauldron and get in. I mean, who says you need Stoneforge Mystic when you can just get to 7 mana and cast your giant living weapon monstrosity? Oh, we get a token? Okay. I forgot that that would be something we'd experience, but I'm not complaining. Let's get in there. Interesting. Um, if I pump, yeah, I'll just give it +2/+2. I don't know if they're baiting me into a removal spell here. No? Yeah, I'll trade all day. That's totally fine. And we can trade. Yeah, it doesn't really matter how we order it, but it's whatever. Happy to do that. Gets some counters. And it survives. That seems like a strange block to me, but it's whatever. They can't flash in Lutri. They don't have the mana yet. I mean, this is a classic example. I mean, this game and the last game are classic examples of why Unzov's Jitte is just a stupid equipment. It's probably one of the best. People's opinions of it have definitely fallen off in recent years, and I do think this particular cube on Arena lends itself to showcasing its power, but it's always been busted. I think people just kind of forget how good it actually is. I'm surprised they're not casting. The fact that they're not casting Magda is a little concerning to me. I'm gonna draw here. Um, I guess they're not doing it because we've got Caracas in play. Um, that doesn't really bother me. I'm still just gonna get in with Lightfall here, and obviously Cauldra. Too bad Sarah Paragon is not a legendary. I would have already snapped that off. Swords to Plowshares plus. You love to see it. Okay. I mean, that's a great play. I'm assuming they're going to also hit the Lightfall Inquisitor. What's nice about this is we get to gain a bunch of life. I am probably... Oh. Okay. The fact that they're going to let me hit with Lightfall Inquisitor is very interesting to me. I think it's probably because they know they get to eat whatever I'm attacking with here. While I can hit them with Caracas, I am not going to bounce their Lutri. I can pump twice, or I can just trade. If I trade here, I can kill Sarah Paragon. Yeah, I'm gonna do that all day. That removes their value engine. Ah, there we go. Well, here's the thing. I am gonna kill this in response. Um, I respect them trying it, but I'm not gonna let them get any sort of value off this. That's just not happening. Um, and that does successfully stop us from getting counters on the Jitte. What does this equip? I can move it over. Well, why not? Actually, yeah, that's a mistake. What we're gonna do is we're gonna eat some things that they would want to cast out of their graveyard. We can hit two things. I'm not worried about Mother of Runes. I am concerned about Robber, and you all can tell me what you think about this second pick. I don't think they can cast Lutri with Flash. Once during each of your turns, you may play land from your graveyard or cast a permanent spell with Thermite. It doesn't say that it's restricted to sorcery speed, so I am going to hit the Lutri. Just because getting swords multiple times sounds miserable. I am going to reconfigure this, though. We're going to throw it on this guy. And pass the turn, because we can always equip Cauldron next turn. This is a lot grindier than I expected to be for a Boros Mirror. And they scoop. It's got to be. I mean, Jitte, so busted. It's so busted. Why won't you do it? Just play Jitte, everyone. Okay, well, let's keep moving. We are still undefeated. Are we 4-0 or 5-0? We are 5-0 with this Boros Broski's deck. Let's get on to the next. Larry Lamborghini. Okay. Are you fancy? It's got Umuzawa's Jitte. How can we send this back? I'm gonna keep this. We're on the play. We've got our mana. Burst Lightning is great. We've got Fury. Let's see what we're up against. Damnation art on your sleeves. I do love Arena over MTGO just for the visual graphics. It's so much more entertaining just as a player, but also as a person watching. It's infinitely better than the Excel spreadsheet aesthetic that Magic the Gathering Online has. Okay, well, we've got Cathar Commando, and so we can hold up both Burst Lightning and Cathar Commando at end of turn. I'm sure they were hoping to maybe spell Pierce something here, but we're not going to give them that luxury. See what they end up doing. They could have an end of turn play, but they don't. The only end of turn plays that I would know of in blue for 1 mana would be nice. Quantum Riddler. The only spell would be Consider. I don't think there's anything else in the form, or Brainstorm too. Those are the two that come to the top of my mind. Quantum Riddler is a very good card. It just does the things. Well, here we get to get in, and we get to cast in web for Uranowski. See what they're working with. Oh boy, this is not good for me. We're gonna have to hit sorcery, but that's not good for us. We are probably gonna just die to this Ulamog. Oof. The question is, how long is it gonna take them to get double green? I mean, I think we're gonna. Well, okay. What I actually think, no, I think we need to beat them down, and Oko is going to seriously slow this down. They need to draw 1 more green, and they could just play an Oko next turn. And this actually won't slow them down once they get a double green. So I am going to choose Planeswalker. Because I don't want them to be able to play Oko next turn. And yeah, we're gonna have to try and race them here, but it's gonna be really tough. Their deck is sweet though. I kind of wish I was playing it instead of Boros. Our deck's very good, but that's the sweet deck. I want to do the sweet thing, not the good thing. Yeah, they're probably realizing right now that they can't cast Oko like they wanted to, which is great because that means we're keeping them off of their game plan, which is what cards like this do. They're going to play their own. Interesting. Okay. Yes. What are you going to say? Artifact, probably? Which is unfortunate, because what that does do is it slows our Umuzawa's Jitte down by a turn. Well, we can still play it, but we won't be able to play and equip. This is 5 on the Burst Lightning. We very well may Fury in order to start getting Umuzawa's triggers on this. And we really just have to hope that they don't draw a green source. But the problem is they have crop rotation, and so they're going to be able to crop rotation an island into a forest. It's still going to be... Oh, instant is what they choose. Okay. Well, they're going to try and trade off here. Yeah, I mean, as much as I'd love to play... Okay. it's games like this where I really need to actually slow down and think about this, because we are one turn away from casting Fury hardcast, and we need to think about, okay, what is actually the faster clock? Because if we pitch Burst Lightning to Fury, we kill Uranowski on their side. We hit for 6, they go down to 9. I think that is still the fastest kill, because if we wait to play Fury on our following turn and we trade off, it's just going to slow down the math. So what this does allow us to do is we get to pitch Burst Lightning to Fury. We're going to kill their Uranowski. And then we get to play an equipped Umzao's Jitte, which means next turn we have the win. So, hopefully, that's how we get to play it. Hopefully this Uranowski slowed them down enough that we can win the game here. Because if they don't draw a forest, and are they in their upkeep right now? It's hard to tell. Stop an opponent's upkeep. They're probably either going to Mystical Tutor or they're going to Crop Rotation. I think they just need to rip a land, because otherwise they're dead. And if they rip a land, because Tolarian Academy is really hurting them right now, I'm glad I thought a little bit longer about the channel versus... Okay, so then this is what we were hoping wouldn't happen. Luckily, they do not have enough life to channel Ulamagus. So I think they're still dead. I think we may have successfully pinched them on this. Yeah, because if they pay 2 green, and then they would have to do 9 to be able to cast blue, they may just kill themselves here as a meme. Yeah, because they'll have to, in order to cast Ulamog, they don't get there. GG's. Okay. I feel very good about that game personally as a player, because I think a younger version of myself would have rushed to some of those decisions and not found the win here. I think, if we go back and look at the battlefield, I think cards like Channel are very scary. I mean, we saw this on, turn 3, when we enwebbed returning our Cathar Commando. I saw Channel. We saw both of them, right? We saw Channel and Ulamog. We're like, oh my gosh, this is going to end us. Now, we did get lucky, and we sussed that out. We saw their hand. We know, okay, they don't have another forest, and we just have to hope that they don't rip one. And that we can use this pressure that once we sussed out, okay, Channel's not the move, because if they get a green, they're going to win anyway. That, actually keeping them off Oko on 3 was the correct move. Yeah, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I feel pretty good about that one. But let me know if you guys saw a different line. If maybe there was something else to consider there. But I really feel like we navigated that one well, and I'm happy with it. Let's move on. Pink 101486. Xander. Oof. This hand is interesting. I'm actually very tempted to keep this here. We have a turn 1 play. We have a pitch of Fury. And if we happen to draw a red, or even if we don't, I still feel pretty confident about this, and we are on the draw. Let me know if you think this is a greedy keep or not. I feel it's on the edge, but I think on the draw we have several looks to red or just a third land that I'm okay with this. Specifically because we have Fury as a way to pitch these uncastables. Although, okay, we're never punished. We can just always have great mana and be greedy as all get up. I do wish this allowed us to see their hand, but they get to choose. This is actually a very unique card in the fact that it's lets them choose, so it's actually much worse. But it's a 2-1 for 1 with Vigilance. That makes one of their spells cost a little more. So I'm not actually too fussed about it. I'm excited to cast Screaming Nemesis on turn 3. I am tempted to just Chain Lightning their face, but um, you know, that's probably the wrong move. I'll just pass. Brainstorm here. Another sweet deck. The one complaint I do have about this particular cube in its current iteration is that the sweet decks aren't necessarily the good decks. I think the one exception is, unfortunately, the draft. I already talked about this. The draft that I just finished, that I thought I was recording but wasn't, was one of the few decks that I've drafted in this format that was both powerful and sweet. I wish it recorded because we did well, and it was just an awesome deck. I feel like the deck we're playing, Boros, is just the fun police, and you really can't do anything sweet because you just get run over so quickly, which is unfortunate. I think the best cubes are ones that allow for a little more balance in the archetypes. I think this strategy is also like the most forgiving on people who are not as skilled, or I would just say newer to the game, or cube in particular, just because aggro, when it's well supported, it just undercuts a lot of the decks that want to go big or want to build up some time to go off in some capacity. I have yet to test this theory, but I do believe that a hard control deck with multiple sweepers and then just good card advantage is a way that you could just totally steamroll this Boros deck, similar to the one I'm playing. I just think it's something that you could just take advantage of the metagame. The question here is, okay, I think I'm going to Chain Lightning their face, and the reason why is we can Fury pinging our own Screaming Nemesis to then redirect the damage at their face. Now, if they board wipe us here, okay, well, that's it, folks. We just ran the table. 7-0 with this Boros deck. Let's take a look and talk about it. I am glad that I cut the Grim Lavamancer. I'm glad I cut the Goblin Bombardment. We didn't even get to see our... Where's our Stoneforge Mystic? We didn't even see Stoneforge Mystic, and it didn't matter. I think by far, the hands-down MVP of this draft was Umezawa's Jitte, and I'm glad that we actually had several games where we got to showcase its power. Don't sleep on this card. Especially in this version of the cube. I know it's not going to be up for that much longer, but it just demolishes some of the strategies, or I would say at least half of the archetypes that exist just fold to this if you start getting hits in. We even got to cast all of these. I mean, we even cast a Culture Complete that put in work. I think if I had to think about what would make this deck better, I would say, obviously Black Lotus power. But this is the streamlined deck that the previous draft that I uploaded was not. It had a game plan. It was focused. Everything was pretty cohesive, and I like that a lot of our threats had a lot of play to them. The fact that Lion Sash can exile from the graveyard and grow, all of these equipment hit on very different axes that allow you to just dismantle your opponent. Obviously, we didn't see probably what I would consider to be one of the best cards in our deck, which is Parallax Wave. We didn't see it, but we didn't need it. We've really used Umezawa's Jitte in several of those games to just dismantle our opponent. Carnage Interpreter, I'm glad I left that in. That really did, in combination with Umezawa's Jitte in the one game, get us the win. And I think we had a good amount of removal in the right kinds. Dismember, Chain Lightning, Burst Lightning. I think, one of the only other things I would have asked for besides power would be a little bit better mana, but we rarely got mana screwed. So, hey, sometimes you get lucky. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.